you back.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say let's go ahead and just dive right in, get going for today. Welcome, everybody. We're so glad to have you. My name is Anne. I'm the program director here at Wilderness Adventures, and I'm really excited. I worked for WA like 20 years ago as a trip leader. I've been bopping around at other camps running different programs over the last couple years and found my way back to WA recently and excited to be here and work with you all this summer. I'm gonna let Charlie introduce himself really quick.
Awesome. Hey, my name's Charlie. I'm the director of operations for WA, so I do a lot of the trip planning, and as you probably know, because I've been emailing you, I do a lot of communicating with parents leading up to the summer as well. And my kind of specialty is our Alaska, Hawaii, and international trips. So happy to chat with anyone about those programs or any of our other programs as well. And this will be my fifth season working in the office for WA. So very excited to yeah, get the ball rolling and get outdoors.
And I'm Kate. I work as one of the logistics coordinators. I started out as a trip leader, but now I work in the office, and this will be my second summer in the office. And I help out a lot with the Rocky Mountain trips. So if you have any questions about those, I'm happy to answer that.
Awesome. Thank y'all. Okay. Um, so everyone just wanted to kind of go over goals and overview of today's webinar. We are going to just provide some like general logistics things, prep things to help you get ready for the summer. Also, just connect with you all so you know who some of us are in the office and will be your liaisons between trip leaders and you if you have any questions during the summer or anything is coming up. And then also just go over some last minute reminders. We know there's a lot as you're getting ready for your trip. So want to make sure that you're feeling the best that you can, you're set up for success, and we're all on the same page. As I said at the beginning, we're going to hold questions till the end, but if things pop up as we're moving through this, just go ahead and pop them in the chat. We'll circle back to them. Um, and yeah, so let's move on to next. First, big reminder is just paperwork. I know probably all of y'all on the call have finished it all, but should you have one last minute thing, just please go ahead and get that in. You can find all your forms and everything in CampMinder. This just helps us so much to be able to prep our leaders, give them all the information that they need, because that's just going to be easiest for everybody. And we are starting staff training actually the middle of next week. So if you haven't gotten those last minute forms in, please make sure that you do that. Next slide. All right, communication. So, as many of you probably know when you signed up, we are tech free during the trip. So, I like to think of this as like we are asking your child to be fully connected to this experience. And by being fully connected, you're disconnecting from your devices. So, students can, and we actually really encourage you to travel with a device. Um, but and then when you land, we'll have the student call home and let you all know that they arrived. But then that phone will be handed over to the trip leader, and they will hold on to it for the duration of the trip. We do really encourage you all to bring a camera though with you as a device and a way to just be able to take photos because later on we're going to talk about this. We have an awesome photo contest and we'd love to um, be able to have you enter in that, but also we want you to be able to capture your trip throughout your time. So dig out an old digital camera, grab a camera, bring it along. We'd love to have you bring that with you. As far as trip updates and communication during the summer when your student is on a trip, about a week before your child's experience starts, you will get an email with a lot of information. One of those pieces of information is going to be a link to the WA app. And in that app, you'll get information about your trip leaders, and we will send you any notifications that might arise, during your child's experience. It'll have an itinerary in the app for you, so you'll be able to know like where things are. But let's just say, for instance, something changes in the itinerary. We'll send you an email or a notification through the app so you get that change and know what's happening. There also will be 1 to 3 times throughout your child's experience, your student's experience, where we'll upload photos and we'll send you a notification about that through the app as well. Um, when to expect and not expect communication. In addition to those moments that I'm talking about, like a week before the trip, and then, 1 to 3 times during the trip, we'll send you some updates. But other than that, unless your child needs to go to a clinic or see a doctor, we'll call you, touch base with you at that point. Um, or there's an itinerary change, we'll send you some information about that. But other than that, we truly operate under this idea of no news is good news. We're out creating an incredible experience. We're out in the woods, we're hiking, we're sea kayaking, we're doing all these amazing things, and we're going to be in the moment and experience it. So, no news is good news. That being said, our office is open from 7 to 6. So if you have a question, if you need to touch base with us, please feel free to call, or you can shoot any of us an email, and we will do our best to get back to you as quickly as possible.
Awesome. So next we're going to talk about the little welcome package that most of you should have already received. But if you have not already, this will be coming your way. So first is the WA t-shirt. So all of the trip leaders and students will be wearing this shirt on arrival day. So it's important that you travel in this shirt so that it is easier to find your peers when you arrive. And if you do live outside of the United States, your trip leaders will have your shirt for you. Next up is the pre-departure checklist. So this is just a simple guide that talks about how to get ready for your trip and has like packing tips and stuff like that. And then the next thing is a custom sticker. And this was actually designed by last year's art contest winner, which I believe Anne is going to talk about in a little bit. So that's super fun. And then the last thing is luggage tags. So these are really helpful for the trip leaders to help find your bags, and in case they get lost. So put one on your checked bag and then also on your carry-on, and just prioritize that. But yeah, those are all the things that are in that welcome package that should be coming your way. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. And then next, we're going to talk about gear and packing just a little bit. So, like I said, one checked bag and one carry-on should be enough. And we definitely recommend either packing everything in your backpacking pack or a duffel bag. If you are renting gear through us, a large duffel bag is perfect for your checked bag. You can throw everything in there, and then your trip leaders will have that rental gear for you. And then just a carry-on and a small bag if you need that. But yeah, your packing list is found in your Camp and Touch account. So it's under forms and documents in there. So everyone should have access to that. And it's a great thing to print off and take to the store with you. But also, it is our best pro tip is just to use what you already have. So like that sports shirt that you wear at soccer practice, you can totally backpack in that. And Tupperware is a great item to bring for your camp bowl. So things like that that you already have is awesome. And then I think rental gear is the next thing we talked about. So like I said, if you're renting gear through us, your trip leaders will have that for you. So just pack everything else that you're bringing in a duffel bag, and then you will get that when you arrive. And then the next thing is to break in those hiking boots. We really want to make sure that you don't have blisters or that they can be avoided as much as possible. So really try to break in those hiking boots, wear them on small hikes around town or whatever, just to kind of increase that comfort. And then a final reminder is that all WA merch has to be purchased by the 22nd, which is tomorrow. Um, so all online orders must be placed by then. And then our online store will be back in August. But if your trip itinerary has you going through Camp New Fork, you will have the opportunity to purchase items in person there. But yeah, that's all the gear stuff.
Awesome. All right. Want to give actually a pretty big plug for this photo video art contest. This is just an annual thing that we do. And honestly, some of our best photos come from our students. So, really, really, really want to encourage you all to bring your camera. Bring whatever it is that you love to capture moments with, and and as we get towards the end of the summer, um, you'll start. Actually, I think we're even going to open it up maybe in the middle of the summer. So the trips that are ending a little bit earlier, they can start submitting, and but we'll have a couple months where this will be open, and we just really want to encourage everybody. Please submit your great photos, your good photos, your silly photos, whatever it is. You'll have opportunities to win merch, get discounts on next year's trips, maybe have your photo printed on a sticker or even included in next year's catalog. So, for all you budding artists or even just like side hustlers that are trying to figure it out, your cameras, please make sure you bring something to take some pictures with this summer so you can submit them to our contest.
Awesome. All right, I'm going to talk through a few quick tips and tricks for travel day. Um, so first off, our number one tip is to add the WA phone number into your student's phone contacts, so that if they do run into any issues along the way, they can get in touch with us easily. Um, it's totally normal to be nervous about travel day. It may be the first time your student's flying alone. Could be the first time flying for a number of our students as well. So just know that it's totally normal to be nervous. We're available. If anything goes wrong, you can always just give us a call and we're happy to help you troubleshoot, whether it's a delayed flight or a cancellation. And our trip leaders will be at the airport ready to meet your student as soon as they come out of security, or if they're flying as an unaccompanied minor, as soon as they get off the plane. So know that we'll be there ready for you. As Kate said, it's really important to wear your WA t-shirt because that's what our staff are looking for. They want to find your student right away at the airport, so that's the easiest signifier for us. So let us know if you haven't received your package, or if your shirt's the wrong size. We've got a handful of extras left, so reach out and we can try to send you the right size. Um, and then finally, getting back to the unaccompanied minor point, if your student is flying as an unaccompanied minor with the airline, our trip leaders can come directly to the gate and meet them as they come off the plane, which is great. But just keep in mind that there are usually a handful of students that are all doing this, and they tend to arrive around the same time. So it can take up to 10 or 15 minutes for our trip leaders to go gate to gate and pick up every student. So if that's the case, your student gets off the plane and they're waiting a few minutes for their trip leader, don't panic, they'll be there soon. You can feel free to call our office to confirm that, but yeah, just know sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get through that process. Okay, and then I will talk you through a few of our frequently asked questions, and then we'll get to your actual questions after that. So feel free to pop those in the chat. Looks like a number of you already have, so thank you. But starting with some of the more frequent questions, when will you get information about your trip leaders? That'll be included in the 1 week out email where we'll give you access to my camp app. And through the app, you'll be able to see a bio and a photo of your trip leader. get a little bit of background about them. Um, what is the food like? We really believe in the importance of food on trip and believe that it's a really important way to build community, which is one of our core tenets of why we do what we do. So we put a lot of emphasis on food. When we're in the front country, we have a fully stocked kitchen that allows us to cook pretty much anything you'd eat at home. When we're in the back country, it's a little bit more limited, but we still generally will eat normal whole meals. Not we try to avoid freeze-dried foods and weird backpacking meals and stuff like that. Some of our longer trips that might be required just because there's only so much weight you can carry, but for the most part, we eat normal meals just like you eat at home. And we always involve the students in the trip planning process as well. So that way they have a say in what they're eating. They get to learn some cooking skills along the way. So you can make them make dinner for you when they get home. And yeah, they're like, food can also be a comfort for students. So it allows them the opportunity to pick out a meal that might be a comfort food for them if they're homesick or things like that. We also, especially if you're traveling internationally, we always try to incorporate the cultural element of food into the trip as well. So, if you're going to Costa Rica, we'll make sure to that your students experience some Costa Rican food while they're there. Then what else do we have? Will we receive all photos at the end of the trip? Yes, you will. So you'll receive a lot of the photos throughout the trip in the regularly scheduled photo updates. But at the end of the trip, we'll send you a much bigger album with the entire collection. The website we use is called SmugMug. There is an option to order prints on SmugMug. Sometimes people get confused by that and they think they have to pay to download photos. Downloading is free. You only have to pay if you're ordering prints from them. So you can download the whole album if you want to. Can your student bring a pocket knife? We prefer not to have students bring pocket knives on trip, so please do not. We have knives that we'll use for cooking. Trip leaders may teach skills that require the use of a knife during the trip, but we try to use our equipment for those moments. So please do not bring your pocket knife on the trip. And what about updates on the fires in the West? This is a great question that we hear a lot, and we are constantly tracking fires and proactively coming up with contingencies. Rarely do we ever have to cancel a trip due to fires. So, generally, if there's a fire in one area, we're able to use a different permit to go. Say you're supposed to go backpacking in Yosemite and there's a fire there, we can go to High Sierra National Forest across the valley instead. And generally, that's how we approach that. And we do have a policy of like if air quality is above a certain AQI, we will reroute the group. But yeah, just know that we're monitoring it and we're making backup plans if there are fires that we're worried about. And generally, we don't have to cancel a trip because of a fire, but we may end up rerouting your students, and we will let them know, or we will let you know if that happens. All right, let's get to everybody else's questions now.
How about I'll read out the first one. How critical is every item on the packing list, like rain pants, and what are the small compression bags for?
I can take that one. Overall, I would say it's best to stick to the packing list. Um, like Kate said, we want you to use what you have. So if there's things on there that you don't have and you're wondering, is this critical? You can reach out to us. Um, I would advocate for rain pants. They come in handy in a lot of scenarios. So if those are on your packing list, I would say that's advisable to stick with those. And then compression sacks are really handy when you're packing your pack, just to help keep everything compressed, and it'll allow you to fit more things and make it so that it's packed smoothly and it's svelte and you got a good shape to your pack. Your student will get a whole lesson on packing a pack on the first day of their trip, so they'll learn more about the compression sacks. But we do recommend that you have a few of those available.
Okay, a couple more gear questions. a big backpack that was used for an older child. It's too big for the 11-year-old, worried about him not being able to carry it. Just advice about that. Might go hand in hand with the next question about rental gear, like what? Charlie and Kate, I'm gonna toss these to you.
Kate's the rental gear guru, so I'll leave it to you, Kate.
Yes, I can talk about rental gear. We have backpacking backpacks, sleeping bags, and sleeping pads available for students to rent. Our backpacks are all like around 80 liters and they are very adjustable. So if the backpack that you have is not adjustable down to fit your 11-year-old, I would say our backpacks definitely can adjust to fit an 11-year-old. They are used for all of our trips, and our trip leaders know how to adjust those to fit students properly. So yeah, reach out if you guys are interested in rental gear.
Awesome. The next one is, will we get a day-by-day agenda? Yes. That email that you get a week before your student's trip will have a lot of information and it will give you the link to the app. And in the app, you'll have access to an itinerary, your trip leaders, and that will be the hub for all the things. So everybody will get that individualized for different trips. Next
The
question.
there is an itinerary available now too in your account. The app has a more like descriptive itinerary, so that's a little bit more fun to read through. But if you just want to see like what's happening each day, that is available in your account on the Wilderness Adventures website.
Great. All right, another gear question. Can they wear hiking shoes or do they have to be boots?
I would say that's a little more personal preference and depending on the trip. I feel like longer backpacking sections, I would recommend more of a sturdier hiking boot. But if it's shorter or if your student hikes in hiking shoes more frequently, then I think that's fine.
I think I saw there was a version of this question from Hawaii. That trip, hiking boots are not required. We just say hiking shoes. But yeah, especially if you're backpacking, ankle support is essential. So, would definitely recommend boots for longer backcountry sections.
Okay. What merch is required? Shirts are sold out. I'm assuming this is with the online store. No merch is required. The biggest thing is just the t-shirt that we send you. I'll just say it one more time, really wearing that on opening day. So it's just easy for the whole group to get together and be identified. So no merch is required, but if you're looking for something and it's sold out, just contact us and we'll see what we can do. Um, let's see. Next question, is the phone number listed the one students should call upon arrival? And I feel like there was another phone number one too. I'm going to hand this over to you, Charlie.
Yes, that is the phone number to call. Yep, and it's 307-733-2122. That's our main line, and we'll be able to direct you or connect you to the trip leaders if need be. So you can always call that line. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk some food. We've got some hungry teenagers who are going to eat a lot. Do they need to bring extra snacks? Should our kids bring extra snacks?
Yeah, we will provide all the food that's needed for the trip, and we've got some experience feeding some very hungry teenagers. So, yeah, not our first rodeo, but snacks are welcome. The main thing to know, and you want to tell your student this too, is we will need to keep them stored in bear safe containers, especially at night. So if they are packing snacks, we'll probably ask them to hand them over right away. And then when we do a lesson on how we handle food in the backcountry, it'll go into a bear can. Um, so yes, snacks are allowed, but they can't be secret and they can't be in your tent. That's the rule.
All right. Will we wash clothes on the trip or do laundry? Yes, you will.
Yeah, about once a week, I'd say, if you're trying to count like how many outfits you need.
Okay. Hand in hand, sort of with that is students keeping a small duffel bag in the van to keep items that they aren't using while they're hiking, like keeping a pair of sweatpants or jeans. Charlie, I'm gonna let you take this.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great strategy. And yeah, that's something to keep in mind too, is like if you're going into the backcountry, you don't need to take everything with you that you brought on the trip. You will be able to leave some stuff in the van. So yeah, a small duffel or sometimes people bring those like fold up day packs that can pack down really small. Those are really handy for that situation.
Okay. Um, a couple of other kind of just gear and backpack related questions. So, will they be carrying the sleeping bag and pad with them when they're hiking? Are backpacks required for certain trips? And let's start with those two.
Kate, you want to take those?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say if the backpack is on your packing list, then that is a required item. For Hawaii, they don't need a backpacking pack. I think I saw that question. But if you have that, it can be a good way to pack all your stuff. Um, but a large duffel bag also works, and then a day pack is great. And yeah, day packs for just like day hiking. A large backpack is not required for that. Um, and then yeah, what were the other questions about gear?
Um, Kind of in that vein, what if I've never been backpacking? Do I need to train before my trip?
That's a great question, and I think it is very common that these trips are the first time backpacking for a lot of students. Our trips are planned in a way that anybody can go on them without prior experience in any of these areas. They're not going to be um, like hiking super strenuous or long days. Uh, I wouldn't say there's anything that they necessarily need to train for or do anything to train. This is intended to be accessible. So yeah.
Okay. Um, and then a couple still that are backpacks required for certain trips? Is a backpack better to have for a trip in general? And then specifically for the Dolomites trip, the list does not call out a sleeping bag. Is that correct? Can we bring a sleeping bag liner? So let's maybe just review like packing list and needs with that.
Yeah. So every trip has a unique packing list and it'll have a specific backpack size recommended there, or no backpack at all if it's not required. So check your student's specific packing list, and we're happy to answer any questions based on that as well. Um, yeah, and then I think I saw one from I'm guessing it was Yellowstone Discovery, or younger students who don't do a lot of backpacking. And I guess in general, if there's a day where they're just doing a day hike, that's what the day pack on your packing list is for. So they won't have to carry their big backpack on those outings. And then to speak to the Dolomites, yeah, there's uh every night of this trip they'll be sleeping in a bed. So no sleeping bag required, but sleeping bag liner is definitely welcome. Um, yeah, so that's a good idea.
Okay. Um, Opportunities to visit visitor centers when entering national parks.
Yeah, for sure. We always try to make that happen. Especially if students have like their national park passport, we'll make an opportunity to get that stamped. Um, yeah, and there's a couple trips actually where we also have set up like a ranger talk where we'll go to the visitor center and there's a meeting set up with the ranger and they'll give us a little bit more background about the park. So those are cool opportunities too.
Okay. Um, All right, miles per day, just to have a frame of reference. Are we hiking 5 miles a day, 15 miles a day? What does that look like?
It varies quite a bit from trip to trip. I would say our most challenging trip, which is probably Alps and Pyrenees or Gates of the Arctic, that's gonna max out at like 7 to 8 miles a day. And there might be a couple thousand feet of climbing in that as well. And then the opposite end of that spectrum is probably closer to like 3 miles of flat hiking. So all of our trips are somewhere in between there. And um, yeah, we try to like sort of ease into it when we build the itineraries. So most trips will have a day hike before you go backpacking, or the first day of backpacking is set up to be short as like sort of a trial run. Um, so yeah, we try to help you ease into it. But yeah, hope that answers the question.
And I saw another question come in while you were talking, Charlie. Somebody just asking, what's the National Park Pass? It's a little booklet that the national parks put out, and each national park is listed. And so often a lot of, you know, anybody can do it, but a lot of students, a lot of kids and teens will make it a goal to hit every single national park. And so they can take this passport with them and get a stamp in each national park. So that's what that is. How about this is a technology question. Can kids have an Apple Watch to be able to track the hikes on the Apple Watch if and can they have that if they don't have social media on it?
We do not allow Apple Watches, sorry to say. Yeah, we've had trouble making sure that those are not connected to the outside world in the past. So we asked students to leave those home. Um, Tech that we do allow would be like a Kindle, if assuming we're not somewhere where there's Wi-Fi. So yeah, if your student wants to bring a Kindle to read, and then like a digital camera is totally encouraged as well. But otherwise, we try to leave all electronics at home.
There's a question about money and $50 per week. What advice do we have for a kid that will just tuck the cash somewhere and probably lose it? And is $50 per week like accurate, right about on par?
Yeah, I think $50 per week is about right. The idea there's nothing that your student needs to buy during the trip. We'll provide all the food, and all the activities are paid for, things like that. So it's really just to get a souvenir, maybe if there's a specific hike or snack that they want for the van when they're driving, things like that. So yeah, whatever you're comfortable with is totally fine. I guess we would ask that you don't send your kid with a ton of money that they can just blow on a bunch of stuff and um, yeah, buy a bunch of snacks that makes everybody eat unhealthy for a couple days, things like that. But yeah, I think $50 per week is a good rule of thumb.
Okay. For Jackson trip specifically, is there a base camp that they will use when they're not in the backcountry?
Kate, you want to take that one?
Yeah. There's not a specific like place where they will be every time that they're not in the backcountry, but we do have Camp New Fork, which is part of WA. They run programming as well, but a lot of our trips pass through Camp New Fork or start and or end, um, and do some activities there. So that is kind of our camp in the Jackson area. It's about an hour and a half from Jackson, but the trip won't necessarily be there every time they're not in the backcountry. Sometimes they'll be at campgrounds in the surrounding area, or in the parks and stuff like that.
Great. Okay. I believe we have made it through all of the questions. If I happen to have missed yours, please drop it in right now. I want to make sure we take the opportunity to get them
Question
all.
about maps.
Okay. Hygiene. Question about maps. Do we need Instagram or Facebook info? Wildlife. Okay, we can tackle all this.
I'm looking for the map question right now.
Okay.
Oh,
How about Kate? Will you touch on hygiene?
Yeah. So we have opportunities for the students and trip leaders to shower and do laundry multiple times throughout the trip. A lot of times those are like right after they get out of the backcountry, or after like a certain section of trip. And so you can see all of that in the day-by-day breakdown, of the itinerary in Camp in Touch, and you can kind of see when that would happen. But yeah, multiple times throughout. And like Charlie said, it's about like once a week, if not more frequent for showers.
okay. Yeah, the question about maps is what do students have, or what do we have for maps so students know where they are and get trained in navigation without device? Yeah, we travel almost exclusively by map and compass. Trip leaders will have access to GPS and they can use that in case of an emergency, but yeah, they'll be using a paper map the whole time and they'll teach a lesson and then reinforce that lesson throughout the trip, as to how to use that and how to read topo lines and things like that. Um, that question also asked what information we provide on plants, wildlife, geology. Yeah, so for every region that we go to, we have, we call like our core competencies that we share with our staff, and that's their required knowledge that they have to have before they go out into that area. And then we also will spend a lot of time talking about lesson planning and like what it means to be an experiential educator and encourage our trip leaders to teach lessons specific to the natural history of where they're going. So those will be incorporated throughout the program as well. And then we also just encourage students' curiosity, and we have resources available to them in the form of like book boxes and things like that. So if a student is interested in a certain flower or something that they see on their trip, they'll be able to go research that for themselves.
Um, Question about do you need Instagram or Facebook for information? No, you don't. We will post occasionally, but it won't necessarily always be your student's trip. It's more just general, maybe posting a couple pictures from Alaska or a couple pictures from Hawaii or something like that. But again, you'll have access to your students' individual pictures and folders in SmugMug. So you don't need Instabook or Instabook, um, Instagram or Facebook. Um, Question about training. How old are the trip leaders and how are they trained? I can start this off and then Charlie or Kate, please jump in. So all trip leaders have to be 21 or older. So most average age is around 25 for trip leaders. And training wise, they are going through about 2 weeks of staff training. Everybody has to be a wilderness first responder. And so that's the certification that is talking about medical scenarios in the woods, and students or trip leaders are trained about how to respond, how to work through things, and make sure that should anything happen, they're able to give them the best care, and are working through that. It's a pretty amazing training and pretty rigorous. So if a trip leader comes to us and they have that certification, it's great. If they don't, they are actually about to start that this weekend, and we'll be doing that. And then we will roll in from that into a pretty extensive staff training going over everything from risk management, ages and stages of child development, um, communication, how to work with one another, and all the ins and outs of each other's trips. We will be going through all the details with all the trip leaders, all the logistics and everything like that. included in that staff training. They're actually going out in the field themselves for a couple of nights and backpacking. And so they're making sure that they're knowing how to use stoves properly and pack a backpack properly and all the things that your student will be learning on the trips. So it's a pretty extensive staff training, pretty thorough. And Kate, Charlie, what else would y'all add to that?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good summary. You might have mentioned it. Everyone passes a state and federal background check before they can work for us. And yeah, I would just say overall, the trip leaders are one of the best parts about our program, and they really make the experience special for our students. And when we're hiring, the hard skills are super important to us, but even more important is like we look for people who have really strong experience working with kids or a demonstrated passion for working with kids and helping people get outdoors in general. And yeah, our trip leaders do a great job of building community and making sure everyone's included and having a good time.
Great. Okay. Can my son bring his fly fishing stuff to Oregon?
Um, Probably not. Most of our permits that we operate under specifically do not allow fishing. But if you shoot me an email and tell me what trip your son is on, I can give you a specific answer. And my email is just charlie@wildernessadventures.com.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Let's see. We've got a question about bringing a book to on the trip. Yes, bring a book. If they decide they don't want to backpack with it, they can always leave it in the van. So, um, that is great. Uh, let's see. Do we have a messenger group for parents so parents can chat?
We don't. No, but when your kids come home, they'll have traded contact info and you can connect with all the other parents that way. But yeah, don't have a solution to that one.
Okay. Hawaii specific questions for you, Charlie. So how will they travel between islands and what kind of accommodations will they be staying in?
Yep. So they fly from island to island, and I actually just finished booking those today, so that's included in the program. You don't need to worry about those logistics at all. Um, and they stay in a bunch of different accommodations, mostly camping, and these are like front country campgrounds. A lot of times they're on the beach. They usually have a shower available and running water and things like that. There are a couple instances where they'll stay either in a hostel in Kona, or like some more rustic cabins out towards Volcanoes National Park. So it varies a little bit from trip to trip, but yeah, mostly camping with a few nights in a bed of some sort.
Okay. And then I'm gonna group a couple questions together for you on this one. So ratio of adults to children on trips. And then is there always an adult on the trip who's done whatever the itinerary requires before, like in previous years?
Yeah, so the every trip will have two trip leaders. Sometimes there's three, and our largest groups are 13. So that'd be 6.5 to 1. So yeah, that or below. And then the trip leaders for a specific itinerary haven't necessarily done that trip before, but we do have really good notes from previous years, and we do a lot of debriefing and yeah, like passing down of information. So, if they haven't been on the backpack on Alaska high trails, they have access to 10 years of notes and trip leaders from last year who are back who they can talk to. And then a lot of folks in our office are also experienced either as WA trip leaders or just outdoors people in general. So we're a resource as well. So yeah, not everyone has done every part of the itinerary that they've done before, but we make sure they have the information that they need to be successful.
Do the trip leaders stay in touch with our office on a daily basis?
Kate, you want to take that one?
Yeah. Not daily, but multiple times a week, and anytime they are going into the backcountry or coming out of the backcountry, they are required to call our office. And then aside from that, they have like check-ins that are scheduled throughout their itinerary.
I think just to add on to that and also um, tie it to being tech free is we truly are trying to create this awesome, magical backcountry experience where this trip of, 12, 13 students and two trip leaders are having this experience together. We are so every single day, just we have so much stuff coming at us. And this is truly a chance for them to unplug, enjoy nature, live in the moment, be present. And we are here supporting them and want it to be safe and a good unit, but we're trying to balance having this experience, so not checking in every single day, having some just preservation, if you will, within this group, and not having to always be with the outside world. So we balance that the best we can with setting everything up as safely as we can with notes and also being able to check in with us every couple of days, so we do know that they're moving along and things are great. Now, like, there are those scheduled moments. There might be a time where they do need to call us outside of those scheduled moments, and if it's something that we need to communicate to your trip or you as a group of parents in particular, we will. But I hope that helps. Just also, it's part of the whole philosophy of just trying to create this experience, be tech free, and do that in a world today that there's really not a lot of opportunities like that.
Did we cover satellite phones?
No, we didn't. Will you talk about that, please?
Yeah. So every group will have a satellite phone and a personal locator beacon. So satellite phones are usable even if you don't have cell service. So if they are ever, out in the backcountry or in a place where they don't have cell service, the staff do always have a way to get in touch with us via their satellite phone. Um, and then the personal locator beacon is for a really high level emergency, like a threat to life or limb. It's a device where you can just press a button and that automatically activates the nearest search and rescue to respond to your location. So they have that device for like true serious emergencies as well. And we do a lot of training on how to use each of those things and what situations call for what.
All right, last call for questions. And if you don't have any now, but in 5 minutes or tomorrow morning, you have anything, we just give us a call, shoot us an email. We're happy to connect with you and answer anything else that comes up.